I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We back on the stream. People can hopefully hear me this week. You know, we good. But we back with Down to the Wire. It's me PMC with Sebastian, Mike Lee. How y'all doing?
What's going on? Week three.
Week three.
Hey man, I'm here. I don't duck smoke like Derek. You know what I'm saying?
Derek, I know,
Yeah, we're the Giant fans.
Listen, I don't duck smoke like Derek and Colin, man. I'll be here after L's.
Man. It's looking bad. It's looking bad for the Giants right now. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, let's hop into it. I mean, that's the first topic. We're gonna talk about that Thursday night game. Sebastian, I mean, what you think? Like 49ers, Giants, like what's happening? What's going on?
All right, so the question shows, what did we learn from this game? Overreactions and concerns. I'm gonna just start real quick. The Niners are great and the Giants are mid. Like, that's just kind of what it is. I had a very interesting way to watch this game. I was in Dallas for work. So I was on a flight back. I didn't think I'd be able to watch the game, but they had the game on the TV. And overall, like, I didn't expect us to win the game. And I didn't really expect it to be particularly close either. It was even closer than I thought it would be, considering who was out. Andrew Thomas was out. Barkley's out. And then Deonte Banks got injured kind of early into the game. But overall, the Giants just look pathetic for the most part. Like, the offense to start the game wasn't great. You know, just what we're seeing in the first half isn't great. And I know people will likely flame me for this, but overall, my concern for the Giants really isn't at the quarterback position. I know it's going to be a topic of this show and going forward to this series, but effort from Kayvon Thibodeau was really brutal to me. I thought he didn't give any real effort. Dude was getting no push on the line. He got a sack, but like, it was really somebody else who caused it. Barkley was out, seemingly has a high ankle sprain that they're going to rush him back for. I don't want to see that. That's going to be a mistake. The offensive line is still trash. Waller was dropping passes and looked sluggish. And the coaching, these first halves have been brutal. You know, in Arizona, the game in the second half, Daboll seemed to take over play calling. And if that's the case, he needs to continue to do so, because what the hell was I watching in that Thursday night game? You know, Jalen Hyatt, our prized third-round wide receiver with burners, just getting no targets, no possessions, no playing time. I need to see Hyatt over Paris Campbell going forward. I know I'm ranting as a Giants fan. I did like what I saw in general from the Niners. We can go deeper into that a little bit, but you know, it was a very depressing flight. I'll say that. It was very turbulent. The Wi-Fi was out. It was a rough Thursday night for me, man. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up. I think the only thing we didn't learn much from this game. I think it just kind of confirmed that what everyone already knew, that San Fran was the cream of the crop, especially in the NFC, and the Giants clearly are not anywhere close. I think you called them mid. I think they're very far from mid. I think they're very, very, like, they might be the worst team in the league besides the Cardinals, which was the only team that they looked good against. They were just completely dominated. I think it was like over 400 yards to like over 150 by San Fran. All aspects of the game, they just look like a completely different level than the Giants. And I am going to put blame on Daniel Jones, because I know, like you said, they had a lot of injuries. Obviously, Saquon was out. The offensive line was hurt. But, you know, there's a reason you're paying Daniel Jones, and the reason you pay a quarterback like that is to overcome those things. If you're paying your quarterback that much money, he should be able to kind of carry the load. And it doesn't seem like he's someone that you can just put the team on his back and overcome those obstacles. So it's really making that new contract for Jones looking like a mistake. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to trade him and move on from him even after this offseason. I'm not really sure what the guaranteed money is there, how that works, but that's looking like a terrible contract going forward. I don't know.
3 weeks in already.
Man, a trade request.
Yeah.
I don't want to overreact, but those were like those might be their two worst losses in like the past 3 years. Like, those weren't just losses; they were terrible losses.
I'll tell you this right now, as a Giants fan, that Thursday night game was not the worst loss I've seen in the past couple of years. that Cowboys game, yes, but I've seen much worse. So maybe.
I mean, maybe because expectations were already low with Barkley being out, but
yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad though. I mean, if you look at it, like, you know, McCaffrey 119 all-purpose yards, like Giants had 150 yards total. So it's I think they had like under 30 yards like on the ground. Like it's not looking good right now.
I think we only even rushed the ball like a total of 12 times. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And then running is supposed to be our staple, right? We have a quarterback who can run. Barkley was obviously out, and we can't, if we're not gonna be able to block long term, we can't get the ball down the field. So I expected to see Breida get a heavier carry, heavier load. We weren't down so much that we couldn't run the ball, but I think it's just with the way the game was set up, we were trying to throw it, but we were only going short, intermediate anyway. So we couldn't get the ball down the field. We didn't have the protection we needed. I'm not ready to trade off Daniel Jones just yet. I need a couple more weeks. I still believe in DJ. I don't think he was the problem last night or the other night. I don't. Maybe I'm a homer. Maybe I have too much faith in him, but I don't think he was the problem. I saw a whole lot of problems.
So is it the 49ers are just that good?
To me, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I think we're kind of putting a little too much on the Giants. I think the 49ers are just that good. Yeah. They did what they were supposed to do, but between Bosa and then the secondary, it's like that defense. I don't know. I don't see anyone in the NFC really. I mean, the Cowboys obviously could challenge them, but we haven't seen the Cowboys really get tested yet. They played the Giants and the Jets, so I'm not sold on the Cowboys yet. But I think the 49ers, especially with Purdy, I think Purdy's proven people wrong that they can win with him. I know that's been a big topic that people are kind of keeping their eyes on this whole season if they're making the right choice with him. But I think if he's going to keep playing like this, and he's not just a game manager, he's making clutch throws. You got McCaffrey scoring a touchdown every single game, getting 150 yards every week. I don't see anyone really stopping the 49ers, especially in the NFC there.
Yeah, as far as are the 49ers legit, are the favorites to win the Super Bowl? They were my pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC this year. So they're doing exactly what I expected of them. They didn't even have Ayuk. I was complaining about the Giants missing pieces. They didn't have Ayuk. Their offense still got down the field. They converted basically every single third down, it seemed like, in the game. I still did see some pretty weak throws from Purdy, though. I was impressed with a couple, the one to Ronnie Bell and then the other one to Debo, those 2 touchdowns that he had. I thought those were really great throws. But there were some very weak throws in there as well. So I see flashes of really great quarterback play, and then others where I'm like, I see the limitations as to why this guy didn't get drafted too high. So, but overall, the Niners, they have the offense you need. They have the weapons. We talk about it every week. Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle. They didn't even have Ayuk, and I like Ronnie Bell. I feel like Bell is going to be a nice little piece that they have that they can filter in when one of these guys goes down. Debo got hurt in that game a little bit late, so we'll probably see a little bit more from Bell next week. But overall, I'll say this. The one thing I was happy about is I have Purdy and McCaffrey on one of my fantasy teams. So that worked out pretty well for me.
I think what Purdy does really good, though, is he's not trying to do too much. Yeah. I think that offense is like that offense is perfectly matched to the wide receivers and the talent on that. Where it's like Debo, CMC, like they all get yak. It's all about yards after catch. They don't need Purdy to throw 20 yards down the field. They need him to hit a 5-yard slant and let Debo take it 30 yards.
Yeah,
it's like if Debo and McCaffrey are going to be healthy, they're unstoppable. But obviously with the two of them, they always have the injury bug. But we'll see if they can be healthy going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and their defense is damn good as always. Bosa finally got on the board with a sack. I don't get why that's not a safety, personally. Like, I get that you made contact. Yeah, right. Like, I'm watching, like, yeah, that's a safety. But I get that you made contact outside of the line, like outside of the goal line. But come on, that's a safety to me. Just like we were talking about the Justin Jefferson, that shouldn't be a fumble or whatever. That's a safety, man.
Yeah, 49ers definitely look the best right now. Definitely most prepared, like ready for the season. Like you said, Brock Purdy, I'm not sure he can win the game himself, but he definitely just lets them make plays. So it's just like, if he can do that, they're looking pretty unstoppable right now.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo all over again, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, just get us there, whatever, and then they're only asking you to make 2 or 3 really great throws a game. And so far, so good. He's been making those throws. I want to see what it looks like versus a real defense. Giants.
But the thing with the NFC though, it's like, do you really see any team going up 2 scores on the 49ers at any point in the game? So it's like that defense is so good, their run game is so good. They'll never be down. I don't think they'll ever be down.
I will
scores.
say the one thing I saw from him was like at least early on, and I don't know if it was because like Ayuk wasn't there and they were kind of off, but like he had a lot of throws like in that first quarter, I think second quarter, where it's like he's like trying to throw picks almost.
It was ugly early,
Yeah,
though,
it
for
looked
whatever
And then
reason.
he
bad.
reeled it back in. He was like, "Let me just
So
chill."
I'm like
Yeah.
that could be their thing where like if he turns it over and like puts people in good field position and like they get up early, like that could do them in. But as long as like he stays within like the game plan and just like lets them make plays, it's like he should be fine. But some of those throws, they look really bad. I mean, I think Kittle had to like defend one.
Yeah,
Like,
Debo
they're-
had like 3 that were like, ew.
Yeah. I mean, even the one, I think there was one early where like it was kind of in the red zone where like Debo like trucked the guy like right after, but it was just like I'm like, yo, like that's like you're putting your receivers in like dangerous situations. You know what I mean? We talk about keeping them healthy. It's just like you don't want to see that from your quarterback, like where you're putting it in and you're like getting cracked. I mean, it's Debo, so like he was able to handle it, but I'm like, you don't want to see that.
It's like he's blessed that it's Debo and Christian McCaffrey and George
Yeah,
Kittle.
exactly.
Where it's
Yeah.
like if it was anybody else, I don't know, man.
Yeah. But they definitely have a good system there. So I mean, we'll see. Like I said, they just gotta stay healthy. But on that topic, we can move to the next section. Just talking about these injuries, man. Like, there's been so many injuries so far. Like a lot of people out for the season. I know, like even just start the season, like we talked about Kupp, like still hasn't played. Like Jonathan Taylor, even though they have that situation there, like he's supposedly injured. It's just like, just want to like bring up the topic. Like, what do you guys think is like which team do you think's been affected like the most, like from the injuries so far?
Is that a question?
Yeah, like which team? It's a question.
We
It's a
stand
question.
up real quick.
It's a question. It's a question.
What are we
It's a
talking
question.
about?
It's a
not
question.
a question.
It's a
not
question.
a question at all.
In real football, I think it's obviously the Jets, Aaron Rodgers. We don't need to
Sure.
go too much into that, how their season died. If you want to go fantasy wise, you can go a lot of different avenues. I think obviously Kupp was a big injury in fantasy, not just because he's out, but because like we don't know. Like I think they're saying I think on paper they're saying it's a hamstring injury, but there's been reports it might be like a nerve injury. So if it is a nerve thing, even if it's a hamstring, those last all year. So if it's a hamstring or a nerve issue, it's going to be bothering him all year. We don't know when he's going to come back. It could be in a couple of weeks. It could be in a couple months. We really don't know. And that's what's the annoying thing is, especially with guys like Puka and Tutu Atwell. A lot of people are hesitant to buy in because they're thinking, oh, when Kupp comes back, obviously the targets aren't going to be there. But in my mind, I don't think Kupp is going to be 100% even when he does come back. So I still think there's going to be volume between all 3 of those receivers. But we'll see what happens going forward. And then obviously the Nick Chubb injury was ugly to watch. I think the latest report said it's only an MCL somehow. I thought he broke everything in his knee, but we'll see what happens with him. But they're saying it's not career ending, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. I don't see how there's possibly another answer
I
to
don't
that
know.
question.
I don't know. I
They
mean,
went from Super Bowl contenders to, all right, we might win 6-7 games.
okay, but you could say the same for Burrow right now. I mean,
Yeah, but he's still
Yeah,
playing.
but he came to the season hurt and wobbled where they were talking about sitting him for multiple weeks to start anyway.
okay.
Yeah, but Burrow's always been a slow starter too. He's like 1-7 in the first two weeks of his.
But I think
career all
there's an
year.
argument to say now, like for the Bengals, right? Like, do you think the Bengals are like? Do you think obviously Burrow makes them better, but like, is Burrow carrying the Bengals? Like to me, I think the Bengals have enough pieces where it's just like not to say that you want to sit him, but I'm just like, if he's not 100%, it's like you have Jamar Chase, like you have T Higgins, like Tyler
Who even
Boyd.
is the Bengals backup quarterback? I don't even
That's
know.
but that's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, is this like if he's not 100%, he's not playing well, he's not playing up to like his standard, it's kind of like, is he doing them more of a disservice? Because they do have weapons. It's not like a situation where like Mahomes in Kansas City where it's just like, hey, like he's driving that offense, like they really don't have pieces, they don't expect anyone to do what he's doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but for Burrow, I'm just like, he's not 100%. Like Jamar Chase has like 5 catches on the year. Like it's like that's that's not getting it done. So it's just like I think there's an argument there. I also think like his injury is more than a calf.
Yeah.
Like I think it's
I think
like
that's the real problem. with the Burrow.
I don't think like it's just a calf strain. I think to me, honestly, I think it's something with the Achilles. Like every time they say it's calf, it always turns into Achilles like right after.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what happened to Aaron Rodgers is because he had a calf injury in the offseason. And it's like compensation when your calf is fucked up, your body tries to compensate, and it's like a known thing. Your calf injury leads to an Achilles injury. It happened to KD. That's why KD tore his Achilles. He came back too soon from the calf. So that is my one big concern with Burrow is if it is just a calf thing, it might hope, and if he's trying to rush back, he might fuck up his Achilles or something worse. So, but yeah, it's a big question mark.
Yeah, for me. It's Rodgers, and then if I had to give a second choice, I would say it's Nick Chubb. It was the most brutal injury that I saw so far on the season. And in general, like if Deshaun Watson's going to play as poorly as he's had, they were going to lean on Chubb heavily. And without Kareem Hunt, I mean, now they added him back, but without Kareem Hunt, Chubb was going to get a crazy workload. So not just for fantasy, but for the Browns, they were able to win They were able to win these games. Like they were able to be competitive and win that game in Pittsburgh even. But I mean, no, they lost that game. But in general, they've been competitive because they had Chubb. And without Chubb, I don't see the Browns going anywhere. I know they brought Hunt back, but overall, I hate to see it. It's a part of the game. So many high-profile players out for the season already, missing extended periods of time. Like you brought up Cooper Kupp. Barkley's probably going to miss some time. They're talking about rushing him back. That'll be a mistake. Rodgers is devastating. Dobbins for the Ravens is devastating. I had them going to the Super Bowl. I don't necessarily know anymore. We'll see. But overall, I don't know if it's the turf. They complain about the turf a lot in some of these stadiums, but I just hate to see it. And if the NFL is going to continue to dominate ratings, they need to fix that piece of it. And I don't know that there's any way to do that. I did also want to say that the Diggs one hurts. Right, Trayvon. I don't even think I saw the play that he got injured on, or if it was even in a game. It was in practice. I hate the Cowboys, but I want them to lose at full strength. So seeing Diggs not being able to suit up, it sucks. And like he's a guy who turns the ball over for them. It's always exciting to see guys get picks, and
I still speaking on the Cowboys, I still think they'll be all right. They still got Stephon Gilmore. I think Gilmore so far has proved he could still be a number one corner. So he's going to have to be going forward. But it's really what was like a super luxury. I think that was one of like maybe a top 3 cornerback duo in the league. Now, obviously, it's cut in half, but they still have what I think is still a shutdown corner. So I think the Cowboys will be fine going forward. Their defense still last year was still pretty good with just one shutdown corner. And as long as they got Michael Parsons, they'll be good.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, just going back to like that Chubb injury, it's like it goes back to like our running back conversation. Like I feel like every week it's just like he was the one guy that just like if you had an argument for like paying the running back, like you can go to Chubb, and now it's like this is why they're not going to get paid.
Yeah, and he spoke up about it in the off season, right? Like before the season started, he had verbalized like, hey, like we need to unionize, we need to do this and that. And it's like
what sucks now though is the new kid Ford's gonna come in and just dominate, or Kareem Hunt's gonna come in and do good off the street, and they're gonna be like, why are we gonna pay any running back? We got these random guys off the street.
Exactly.
Not random, but literally just signed Kareem Hunt off the street. Ford's not unknown, but I don't think anyone really knew who he was before the season started. Like it wouldn't surprise me if one of them start doing good and then they're like, we're not paying Chubb, especially coming off an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like who's the top running back right now? I mean, like in the league. Like if you had to think of it.
In
you
the
know what I
league,
mean?
Christian McCaffrey.
Probably
Oh,
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's
McCaffrey.
number one because he's more than a running back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, but even him, he goes down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Derrick
gonna
Henry,
be
I think
hard.
running back wise, maybe Derrick Henry. Probably, I think Derrick Henry's
I
still
don't
number
know.
one.
I think they're gonna go to Spears. Like I keep seeing them work him in more and more each week. Like honestly, I think if they don't make a move soon, they may end up moving him.
Henry.
Yeah, I think they may end up moving him.
Yeah, they gotta pay him. He's due.
So
Be interesting.
I don't know.
That'd be crazy.
That would be wild. King Henry on the move. Okay.
Because then they'd probably trade Tannehill too and probably just blow it all up.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about it. Let's get
And
into
then Hopkins. I don't know what they're
let's
gonna do with
get
Hopkins.
into that next section. I mean, that's the week. What's it called? The next reactions. Like, what do you think? Like about like we've gone through 2 weeks of the season. Like, what do we think? Do we think there's any potential trades? Like, is anyone on the hot seat? Like,
I mean, that Cam Akers trade came in hot. I wasn't expecting that. That was the most shocking thing that
out
happened
of nowhere.
for me, out of nowhere. And it's wild. I mean, Madsen wasn't having a great start to the season, but it's interesting. We talked about the Vikings blowing it up. They're clearly leaning in the opposite direction, but they see the urgency. 0-2, it could get brutal going forward. So I see them making that change to try to do something. I know we're talking about performances overall, so I just want to shout out my guy Daniel Jones because we're talking about week 2. He had a great second half, scoring 5 consecutive drives. Was shocked we were down so much, but the comeback was crazy. I was very hyped to see it. But overall, as far as what shocked me the most was that trade. Had to get that in there. Yes, I'm over. Yes, I'm over.
Yeah, that trade had some pretty big fantasy implications just from both teams. I think the Rams, I might be saying his name wrong, Kieran Williams. He obviously is a lot going forward to be the number 1 guy there. I think he shoots up to like high-end RB2 status going forward. We'll see how he does with a bigger workload, but so far he's been killing it. If you were lucky to get him earlier, you're definitely stoked now that Akers is gone. And meanwhile, Minnesota, it's good for Akers too, because like you said, Mattison hasn't really been doing much, so Akers is going to have a chance there. It's going to be a nightmare for fantasy owners between the two of them. It's going to be, who do I start? Probably none of them, to be honest. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that trade. Reactions to week 2. I think my big one is going back to like the first show we did with Puka Nacua. It's like, is he legit? Like the first week, people obviously were skeptical, and then he did it again the second week. People are still skeptical. People are still sleeping on him. But just the way, I think if you watch the way they're using him outside, they're using him inside, they're using him everywhere. A lot of people are saying he's just in the Cooper Kupp role, but I think they're using him a little bit differently than Kupp. Again, they're using him more on the outside because they still have Tutu Atwell too. They've been a good job of mixing both of them. But we'll see. I kind of spoke to it earlier about Cooper Kupp. I'm not sold on Cooper Kupp coming back and doing much of anything this year. I think he's got a deeper issue that they're not letting on to as far as his hamstring and his nerve damage goes. So I'm all in on Puka going rest of the year. We'll see what happens. I know it's only been week 2, but we'll see.
Puka, man.
That's my guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's been an interesting start. I mean, I think for me, like the biggest thing has been like the rookies. Like I've been looking at like the rookie quarterbacks, like Bryce Young. I'm not a believer right now. I'm not a believer. I think I saw a stat where they said like him against like pressure, he's got like 17 yards like when they pressure him or something like that, like something ridiculous. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's too small. I don't know if the Panthers just don't have like the weapons yet, but he hasn't really looked great. But Anthony Richardson, to me, like I just see a lot of potential. I mean, I know they spoke about potential and like he was all about potential, but he's looked a lot better than I thought he was gonna be. So
yeah,
it's
right away.
exciting
That's
there.
the thing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone thought he was a project player, but he's coming in.
Yeah.
Like Cam Newton. Yeah.
Now I don't know if he could stay healthy the way that he's playing. Like they're gonna.
He's already hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already got concussions and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, and hey, Minshew, he might make a run. You never know. But I think Anthony Richardson is been a big surprise so far.
Yeah, I think you're really seeing it was a weaker quarterback class than I think people want to admit between. Because C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's been solid, but I'm not really sold on him either. Richardson's the only one I really see like flashes of, and again, it's only week 2, but it's not fair to these guys. But yeah, I don't think they're doing much.
Yeah.
One additional shocking performance for me was how poor the Bears offense looked. The Bears have just got dog water to me. All that came out this week in regards to them was just crazy. It was nonstop story headlines about just negativity. The coaches getting called out by the star quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot. Dudes resigning. Just not great. So the Bears just dysfunction. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I didn't think it would get this bad this early.
Yeah.
The Bears are crazy because it makes zero sense what they're doing with Justin Fields. I'm a Justin Fields owner as well too, and obviously we all know Justin Fields, his biggest asset. The one thing he can do is run the ball, right? He's like, was it only 1 or 3 quarterbacks with 1,000 yards rushing?
Yeah.
But if you look at how they're using him this year, there's like no designed runs. I think there's been like less than 5 designed runs a game. He should have at least like 10 designed runs every game. I don't know if it's him trying to prove like, hey, I can be a thrower, or if it's like the offensive coordinator trying to like prove we can run a real offense. They need to just go back to what they were doing at the end of last year. It's the same coordinator, I think, too. I don't know why they changed their offense. They just need to go back, be Lamar Jackson light, and stop trying to change Justin Fields. Just let him be what he is.
Well, I will say he has looked bad. His processing speed has looked way.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't look like he can't be that quarterback. You know what I mean? He's got to be able to run. That's his only.
Well, you can tell too. It's like even like some of the pieces that they got. Like you gotta use more. Like you gotta get him involved. Like find ways to get him the ball. And like even like the smaller things. Like they signed Foreman in like week 2. He's like a healthy scratch. Like that makes no sense. Like why you're paying this guy? You brought him in. Like this is a guy who played well last year for the Panthers. I mean, I don't know if he's a starter, but it's just like you're bringing these guys in to help your team, and then you're just not playing them, or you're not getting the ball. So it just doesn't make sense.
To me, with Fields, he's running when he should be throwing, and he's throwing when he should be running.
Yeah.
And it's just rough. Like he had a play where he had DJ Moore streaming down the goal line for an easy toss for a touchdown. Get your number 1 receiver involved in the game more. And he runs it in. And I'm like, okay, like I get running it in there. But if you want to build rapport with your wideouts, like you can't not hit him for that wide open stream. Yeah. So it's rough, man. It's really rough in Chicago. They waiting on Caleb Williams though. So. Listen,
yeah, but so are the Cardinals. So are the Cardinals.
Everybody waiting on Caleb. So are the Giants.
So are the Giants.
so are the Giants.
We'll see.
Nah, we'll see. But all right, I mean, let's keep it moving. Let's get on to sit and start. So who do we have first? This week, first person we have is Jordan Love. So I'm gonna start with you, Lee. Jordan Love, sit or start?
I'm sitting Jordan Love this week. I know he's had a crazy first 2 games, but that's kind of why I'm sitting him this week. I think he had 6 total touchdowns, 3 touchdowns the first 2 games. I see a little bit of touchdown regression here. I don't think he's going to get 3 touchdowns again, especially not against a good Saints defense. They got Lattimore back there in the secondary leading the way. It's just going to be tough for him. And this is really kind of just going based off his last 2 weeks. I don't think he's going to keep it up. So, again, I'm kind of banking on the touchdown regression here, especially against the Saints defense. So I'm sitting him.
Cool. Sebastian?
I'm starting Jordan Love because I have to. Because I have Jordan Love and Daniel Jones in my fantasy league. And I benched Daniel Jones, and he was trash. So, unfortunately, I still have Jordan Love.
That was a good move. That was a good move, yeah.
You told me to start him last week. Hoping against hope that Jordan Love will pick up the slack where DJ hurt me. But overall, I do see what Lee's saying. I do see some touchdown regression. I doubt he's getting 3 touchdowns again this week, But overall, they're home. I think the Packers offense does look pretty good. I think there isn't as many receptions or actual completions that you would like to see for a quarterback that has 3 touchdowns. Like I think a lot of them are just big plays or just they're able to get to the goal line and throw it. It's not like they're really driving down the field. I got to see. I'm still checking every second to see if Aaron Jones is going to play or not to see how that impacts it. But I need to start Jordan Love. So if I had a better option, I might not have. But I'm starting Jordan Love out of necessity this week.
Okay. I think I'm starting him, but I think I got a different reason. I'm a believer in the Saints. I think the Saints are going to win that game. I think they're going to be up a lot, probably a touchdown or two. So I can see Jordan Love kind of getting those like bonus yards at the end of the game, like when it doesn't matter, they're just trying to come back. I think he's done a good job of just not turning the ball over as well. So it's just like, I think he's gonna get those yards. He's gonna let the people make plays, like you said. Like he's hit some big plays. So yeah, I'm gonna start him. I don't think it's gonna be a coming out party. Like I said, I don't think they're winning this game, but I do think he's gonna have a good day statistically.
Hopefully.
I think a big part of it too is if Aaron Jones plays.
Yeah, patiently waiting.
He's playing yet, so we'll see.
All right, moving down the list, we got Travis Etienne. So I'm gonna go back to you, Lee. Like sit or start.
I'm starting him. I still have Etienne in that start every week category. I still think he's a top 10 running back. The first game, he had a really good first game. I think he had like 19 or close to 20 points. But last week, he kind of fell off versus the Chiefs. I think he only had around 5 fantasy points. But I'm still starting him versus the Texans. The Texans don't exactly have the world's best defense. They can still give up points. And even though Etienne didn't really do much last week, he was still getting touches. So I think, part of the reason I have him as a lock to play every week is just because he's that locked in RB1. He's not really in a committee. He's still going to get the touches. So between the first 2 weeks, he's still averaging 19 touches a game between catches and rushes. And you can't really, it's hard to find that, especially nowadays with all these running back by committees. So just the fact that just for volume, I'm playing Etienne every week.
I mean, I'd like to start Travis Etienne, but in general, I just think that the Jaguars are going to air it out more. And I know he does get touches in the pass game, but I think they're going to throw it on the Texans. I think that's one of the weaknesses of the Texans' overall defense. They're going to try to prevent Etienne from getting off, but I think they're going to go down the field with the ball. They had a very subpar game versus the Chiefs last week. I think the Jaguars are going to look to make a statement. And overall, Trevor Lawrence has had very poor numbers versus the Texans in his career to this point. I think this is going to be a statement for them. They're coming off a loss versus the defending champs. They're going to want to really, really, impose their will offensively. And I think it normally would start with the run, but this week's particularly, I think Trevor's going to air the ball out. You're going to go to Kirk. You're going to go to Ridley. And hopefully Evan Ingram, because I have him in one of my fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
I vote on the vibes, bro. My starting sit is all vibes.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting Etienne.
Okay. I think I'm gonna start him. I think I agree with some of the stuff you said, Sebastian. I'm like, I think they're gonna try to make a statement this week, but I think he's gonna be part of that. Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked great so far. I think he's still trying to get on the same page with like a lot of his receivers. Calvin Ridley looked like what everybody expected in week 1, and then week 2 it kind of just regressed. So I think they're still trying to figure it out. I do think Etienne gets a lot of receptions in the air too, and I don't believe in Tank either. So I'm just like I think they're gonna get it going with him this week. I think he's gonna have a good game. Maybe not all on the ground, but just a mix of both. So I think he'll have a lot of all-purpose yards. Like I say, he's still getting the targets. So I'm starting him this week. All right. So this next one, taking it out of Sebastian's book of not really a sleeper. Maybe a little bit questionable. But we're going with Ja'Marr Chase. I'm gonna start with you, Sebastian. Sit or start for Ja'Marr Chase.
Listen, I feel like you have to start Ja'Marr Chase, man. You have to. You probably drafted him extremely high in your league, and you gotta hope against hope that he just gets out of this rut. He's too talented to continue this level of production. I have Bengals colors on. I just came back from Dallas and copped the Longhorns pullover, but I got the orange and the black on. So I'm starting Jamar Chase versus the Rams. The Rams, their defense is okay. It's nothing crazy. But overall, they're going to look to get Chase involved if they're going to want to win this game, and they need to win this game. They can't be down 0-3 and expect to make really positive impact, especially not in the AFC North. So I have the Bengals versus the Rams, and I got Chase, man. I think Chase is going to make some magic happen.
All right, so this is tough for me because you guys are right. Obviously, Jamar Chase, you're playing him every week. You're playing him no matter who or what's going on. You're playing Jamar Chase if he's healthy, right? But this week is a little tricky, mainly because they play on Monday night. They play on Monday night, and we don't know if Burrow's going to play. So if it was like a regular game, so I think it depends on what other options you have at wide receiver. If you have a deep team. And you have maybe like a flex guy on your bench, maybe like a Terry McLaurin or something, I wouldn't be mad at starting someone like that over Chase if you're not confident in what happens on Monday, just because it sounds like Burrow is going to be like a game time decision. They're not going to know. So I'm not a big fan of Jake Browning. I believe he's the backup there. So if he's got to go for the Bengals, I'm not that confident in Chase. And again, with the Monday game, it does make things tricky. So I hate to be like wishy-washy and not picking a side, but I really do think it depends on your team.
Pick a side. No, pick a side. Starter sit, chair or no chair, man. All this hedging. Monday this, Monday that.
It's true though, because you don't know what's going to happen on Monday. I'll say sit. I'll say sit because I don't think Burrow plays this week.
Stand on it. There you go.
Sit. I'll say sit.
Man, it definitely is like a crazy back and forth. Man, I'm gonna go start. I'm gonna go start. Only reason is I think for the Bengals as an organization, I'm like, this is the last week before Jamar Chase starts like verbally like saying like, hey, get me the ball. You know what I mean? I think he's been good about not really being a diva so far, but it always happens with like those wide receivers, especially like I think last week T. Higgins got like double-digit targets. So I mean, I don't know. You got to get him involved. I think you got to get him involved like early too. Like early in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if like the first 3 plays go to Jamar Chase, maybe an end around. Like you just got to get the ball in his hands so like he feels good at least. So I'd say for the Bengals' sake, I'm going to say start. But man, I don't know. It just hasn't looked good for the last few weeks.
Yeah, man, just get him going on a little slant. Maybe he takes it to the house.
Something.
If Burrow's not playing, he can't really be crying for the ball if Burrow's not playing.
Every quarterback can throw a slant route. every quarterback can throw to the middle of the football field to get to your star receiver. Start Jamar.
Tell that to the Jets.
All right, so now we're going to most notably like the slowest running back in football right now. So Sebastian, we're gonna go back to you. Najee Harris, start.
Bring the chair out, man. Najee a bum this year, bro. I can't believe what I'm seeing from him. I like Jaylen Warren. I feel like they're gonna use Jaylen Warren a little bit more. I have him on my bench. If he's very productive this week, he might get a start next week for me. But Najee just looks like he's past it. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what that is because they need to run the ball, and I know that maybe because they're stacking the box a bit, it looks that way. But he's not even hitting the line hard. He just looks like a shell of himself to me. I don't know if he's nursing an injury or something. I am sitting Najee, man. I would look to trade Najee. That's how bad he's looked to me, though, so far this season. I have no interest in playing him. Thank God he's not in any of my leagues or not on my team in any of the leagues. I almost drafted that guy, too. So, yeah, I'm sitting him. Get the chair out for sure.
Yeah, hard agree. I am a Najee owner, so I got the there. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately, I drafted Jaylen Warren as kind of like a handcuff backup as well. But if you've been watching the two of them, Najee is still getting majority of the workload, but he's only averaged about like 4.5 points per game. versus Jalen Warren in limited time is averaging close to 8 points per game, so almost double of what Najee's been doing. So, if we're seeing a slow Najee, I'm sure the coaches are seeing it as well. I feel like every week we hear talk of getting Warren the ball more, and every week we see Najee do nothing with the ball. So eventually they're going to have to make that switch and go to Jalen Warren a little bit more. And I think this is the week they do it because I think they're getting desperate.
Yeah. I think it's a clean sweep. Like even as like a bruiser, it's just like he's not, like you said, he's not hitting the whole hard.
Not in the hole, man.
Like he's not a threat. I think like his rookie year, he looked like he would be a dual threat. And now it's like it almost looks like the Todd Gurley thing all over again, where it's just like you don't know what happened, but something's off. So yeah, you got to sit him until he does something, or they can find some use for him. Like you got to sit him.
Yo, PMC, we got Alex in the chat, man. He hurting on that one. he hurting, man.
Yeah. Okay. So next one, we're going to Derek Carr. So Lee, I'm going back to you. Derek Carr, sit or start?
I'm starting Derek Carr versus the Packers this week, mainly because Jamal Williams is out for their running game. So all they really have is Tony Smith, and they do have their rookie running back Kendre Miller making his debut this week, I believe. But between the two of them, if I'm the Saints, I'm building that game plan around the passing game. So I think Derek Carr is going to be throwing the ball probably close to 40 times this week. So I'm playing Derek Carr.
Sebastian, what you?
Bring that chair out again, man. Listen.
Man.
I am sitting Derek Carr at the Packers, and I have him in actually both of my leagues, and I started Purdy over him. He's not going to outscore Purdy today, I don't think. Carr's a backup in fantasy football until I see what that offense looks like with Alvin Kamara back and with Kendre Miller. So to me, they haven't looked great through the first two games. I do like Olave. There was one great throw or a couple. There's always one or two great throws from Derek Carr every game, but he's just type mid, man, to me. Like, I know you believe in him, PMC or whatever. I had that one little moment of belief earlier in the year, but I'm sitting Derek Carr. You probably have a better option. Go with that option.
Yeah, I will say he's probably not the best option right now, but I'm definitely starting him. I'm a believer in Derek Carr. I think for the same reasons Lee said, like their running game is kind of shot until Kamara gets back. I think this week too, I think he'll be freed up a little bit by the Taysom Hill effect. They'll probably get him involved, and that always like throws off the defense a little bit. For what reason? I have no idea. I have no idea how Taysom Hill is able to do it every time.
you give him more reasons not to start him. He got a whole other quarterback who's going to take snaps from him.
No.
Mid game.
He's gonna switch it up, and it's gonna open it up for him. So I think Derek Carr is gonna have a good game. I think I'm saying 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think this week
from Taysom Hill.
From Derek Carr. Derek Carr to Taysom Hill.
If anything, Taysom Hill will steal a touchdown from Kendre Miller.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But that may be a good candidate for a parlay. Derek Carr to Taysom Hill.
So specific.
So specific, man. All right, and our last one is Dameon Pierce. So Dameon Pierce, sit or start. I'm gonna go with you, Lee.
I'm benching Dameon Pierce this week. They're playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville's I'm pretty sure they have like a top 10 defense, so they're gonna have to be throwing versus them. And not only that, the Texans are dealing with some pretty big injuries. One of them, I think their left tackle Laramie Tunsil is out this week. So it's gonna be a struggle for the Texans offensively versus the Jags. I think the Jags are gonna take a lead, and it's going to force the Texans to kind of abandon the run a little bit. And Pierce doesn't really have that dual threat, talent as far as like being a receiver. So I think he'll probably get maybe like 10 carries, but it might be like a 10 carries, 35-yard kind of day. So I'm benching Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, this was another one that was a toss-up for me. I didn't do much research on Dameon Pierce. I forgot he existed. So, as always, when I don't know, I'm flipping a coin. and the coin will decide. So it's heads. I'm starting him. Good luck, Damian Pierce. I hope he does bad though, because I have Nico Collins
What?
in one of my leagues. I need to get no touches. Go to Collins every time.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna sit him. He just hasn't looked good, man. He just doesn't look good. The Texans are just a bad team too. So I think he is a good running back on a bad team. And I think they're gonna lean on C.J. Stroud to kind of win the game. He does a little bit on the ground as well. So it's just like it's a tough sell for Damian Pierce right now. So I'm gonna just sit him. All right. So that's it for sit and start. So I guess we're gonna move to one of our last sections. We're gonna go with the parlay. Sebastian, you ready for your parlay?
Yeah, I know I steered you guys wrong last week, but trust me, this one's a lock. No, it's probably not. But 8-leg parlay, because my favorite number is 8. I have a few in the same game. In that Bills and Washington Commanders game, I have Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown, Brian Robinson Jr. 60 yards rushing, Josh Allen for 25 yards rushing, and Buffalo Bills money line. I just think those are the things that are going to happen in that game. It's going to be exciting, but overall, I do think the Bills take it. I have the over 54.5 for the Chargers versus Vikings game. That's minus 110. That's going to be high scoring. It just is. You know, both teams like to air it out. Both teams have pretty dynamic quarterbacks. I know I don't believe in Kirk Cousins, but as far as yardage and points being put on the board, he's going to get some points. He's just not going to win the game. And then I have the under 35.5 for the Patriots-Jets game. Both offenses are just putrid to me. Hopefully we don't have any defensive touchdowns, but I do believe it'll be a defensive struggle where they struggle to get points on the board. I do have the Steelers money line versus the Raiders at plus 134. I just believe in Mike Tomlin. I believe in George Pickens. I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. I know Najee's a bum, but I think Jalen Warren will put some work in for the Steelers. And then this is a little tip for anybody who does like to do parlays to get a big boost. Bet your underdog on the Monday night game so you get a cash out. So I bet the Buccaneers versus the Eagles on Monday night at home plus 194. Hopefully everything else hits, so I will probably get a cash out early. Maybe even ride into that game with good confidence, just to see how the first quarter is looking, and then cash out mid-game if need be. But yeah, just a little pro tip for y'all.
Cashing out, man. Nah, you gotta let it ride.
You gotta let it ride.
Nah,
Don't cash out.
Listen, I'm a cash out kind of guy. I'm a cash out kind of guy. But yeah, that's plus. What was the whole thing? Plus 26666. So I put $8 on that to win 2,100. So we'll see what it looks like next week.
Okay. Lee, you got a parlay for today?
Yeah, I got a parlay. It's not as crazy at that one. It's only it's a two-way same game parlay. So first shout out to the weather here in the Northeast. It's going to be pretty rainy and pretty shitty. So I'm looking at the Ravens and Colts. They're playing in Baltimore. I'm looking at the under 43.5, and I'm parlaying that with a Zach Moss touchdown for the Colts. I got Zach Moss on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm watching him. But yeah, there's really no one else on that Colts backfield doing much. So he's going to be getting all the touches again. So I'm throwing the dice. Maybe he gets a touchdown. And again, I'm taking the under due to the weather.
Okay.
And that's plus 410. So not as crazy, but still pretty good.
Okay. So I have same game parlay. Justin Jefferson plus 75 receiving yards. Justin Jefferson touchdown, CeeDee Lamb plus 75 receiving yards, and CeeDee Lamb touchdown. Plain and simple, I think they're both going to have big games. They'll both score, and that's plus 641. So nice little easy cash out. Nothing crazy. Have you hit on any of your parlays? Have you hit on what's the closest? We got to start recapping Cause you're just throwing out 8-leg parlays. Like one of them hit. Like we can't just be throwing those out.
Last week I missed on most. I got the Zach Ertz 40 yards. I got
Okay.
Daniel Jones 2 touchdowns, which was stressful for a while. I got the Debo Samuel anytime touchdown, and everything else I missed on, but it was close. It was all close stuff. I was close with the Jamar Chase yards, but he missed by like 3 yards. So
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, wrapping up the show. We're gonna wrap up with our down to the wire segment. For people we think are sleepers for this week. So Lee, I'm gonna start with you. Who is your sleeper for this week?
So this week I'm going with the Bears rookie running back, Rashawn Johnson. He, I think, is primed for a breakout. I think it's only a matter of time before he takes over that backfield. This is kind of a slight to Khalil Herbert. He's been the starter the past couple of weeks, but he's been averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Hasn't really been that effective. The whole Bears offense hasn't been that effective, so that might be more of a product of that. But I think Rashawn Johnson, they drafted out of the 4th round, so they got some draft capital in him. He's got the talent. I think it's against Kansas City. They're going to try to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. To keep the Chiefs offense off the field, they're going to have to run the ball, control the clock, time of possession. So I think they're going to try to establish the run. And I think Johnson, this might be the week that Johnson kind of closes the gap on Herbert.
Okay. All right, Sebastian, who you got?
all right, following the theme, I'm also going with a rookie running back. I'm going Kendre Miller out of the Saints. It's his first game in the league. I think they're going to try to feature him. There's no Jamal Williams. Kamara's not back till next week. And I already explained to y'all that Derek Carr just ain't like that. So they're going to try to feature this guy at least a little bit in the offense, and hopefully he gets himself a touchdown or something. So I'm going Kendrick.
Okay. I'm gonna follow that same train of thought, and I'm gonna stay with the Saints. I'm going Taysom Hill, man. He finds a way. He finds a way every single time to make it happen, whether it's on the ground, through the air, or just passing. So I think he's gonna have a good game, or I'll say a typical Taysom Hill game, where he just has a fluctuation of stats all over. Maybe he gets a score or two, and then he just makes an impact. So yeah, I'm going Taysom Hill.
I feel like he's going to get at least one goal line look. If he scores with it, I don't know, but he's going to get at least one look on the goal line.
He's going to get at least one. I don't think they let the rookie just take over the reins for the entire week.
We got a question from Alex in the chat. It says Taysom Hill or Hunter Henry asking for a friend.
Hunter Henry Hunter Henry all day.
We're going Taysom Hill, man.
Oh, you're going Taysom? I'm going Hunter Henry, man.
We're going Taysom
I don't
Hill,
understand
man.
how you could be starting Derek Carr and starting Taysom Hill.
We're going Taysom
Please,
Hill.
please.
Taysom Hill shouldn't even be rostered on anyone's team. If you're playing Taysom Hill,
man. Listen, I'm a person where sometimes I stream tight ends. I'm streaming Taysom Hill right this week.
He's streaming Taysom Hill. If Taysom Hill could be counted as a flex, I think he should be an exception, where you can just flex him, and no matter what he does, you should be able to get points.
If you don't have Kelsey or you don't have Hawkinson, who are you playing at tight end?
I'm playing Sam Laporta.
Hayden Hurst? I don't know, man. Somebody.
I'm playing Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry.
You're getting 6. You're getting 6 points, 7 points.
I might get no touches at all.
Taysom Hill might give you 0.
Taysom Hill is gonna get some touches this week.
What did he do last week, man?
We're not talking about last week. I'm talking about this week. Yeah, I'm not saying he's an every week play. I'm saying this week.
This
Taysom
week
Hill.
versus the Packers on the road. This
Yes.
week.
Taysom Hill, man. Taysom Hill is getting you at least 10 points.
It's cold in Green Bay, man.
Listen, he's getting those points, man. He's getting those points. But all right, that's our show for this week. Like always, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. Get more people, get more eyes on this. But yeah, we'll be back same time next week, and yeah, take it easy.
Peace.